G'day everyone, this is Doc White here, and welcome to what I hope will be the first of a few lessons on how to play blues guitar, at least blues guitar in my style. The tune I've picked today is a tune by Mississippi Fred McDowell called Write Me a Few Lines. It's a slide tune and it really demonstrates the power of a simple riff. This tune's been covered by many blues artists over the years, and I would urge you to track down as many versions as you can so that you can see how other people have approached it. And I certainly urge you to track down the Mississippi Fred McDowell version as well so you can see the source material. This tune is in the key of G, and you have to tune your guitar to the chord of G in order to make this work. So if you haven't done this before and you're used to standard tuning, the way to get there is to lower your bottom E string from an E to a D. So that's your 6th string, goes from E down to D. You lower your 5th string from an A to a G. Okay, so that goes from A down to G. You leave your 4th string where it is, in D. Your 3rd string stays where it is too, G. Your 2nd string also stays where it is, that's a B string, stays at B. And your top string you lower from an E to a D. So if you haven't got one, grab yourself a tuner and get your guitar strung up or tuned up in those notes, and then you'll end up with an open G chord. And there are many tunes that have been written using this tuning. Sometimes people play in this tuning with a capo, so if you want to play an A, you would capo it at the 2nd fret, for instance, etc. Muddy Waters did that a lot. Anyway, this tune is really 3 parts to it, plus an instrumental section, and I'm going to play all 3 parts in the instrumental section, and then go through them slowly so that you can get a handle on what's going on here. It's fairly straightforward. It's also great, so it's a good tune to add to your repertoire if you're thinking about advancing the cause in this music. Okay, write me a few lines. When you get home, little baby, write me a few of your lines. Write me a few of your lines. Be a big consolation, honey, to my worried mind. Consolation, honey, to my worried mind. Okay, so what have we got there? Well, the basic riff that you start off with is really straightforward. What you're doing is using a slide. Now, for those of you who haven't done this before, You can do a large variety of pre-manufactured slides around the place. There's copper ones and brass ones, and there's ceramic ones like this one. There's glass ones, and there's bone, and there's a whole bunch of them. So you obviously need to have one of these to play slide guitar, otherwise it doesn't work at all. So you take your slide and you're up on the 5th fret of the 1st string, which is a G note. So G, open, open D, so 5th fret, open, slide into the 3rd fret on the G string. That's the money maker note right there in this tuning. It's the minor 3rd, the B flat. So G, open, slide into the B flat, open G again, now that's the basic thing that you're playing with this hand, these fingers. I haven't got the thumb in there yet. So I assign either one finger per string, depends what I'm playing. So I can assign the index finger to the G string, the middle finger to the B string, and the ring finger to the D string. Some people don't, some people play with 2 fingers, and I do that a bit too, I must confess now, because you get a bit more syncopation, I think, using 2 fingers than 3, but I started out as a 3-fingered player. And some people use 1, like that. I find that a bit awkward, but Doc Watson, who played a lot of blues guitar apart from playing great bluegrass guitar, used 1 finger, and Reverend Gary Davis, who's a monster guitar player, he only used 1 finger and a thumb as well. So it's personal preference, whatever you get away with. What you have to do though is hit those notes, whichever way you do it. So 5th fret, open on the top string, slide up to the B flat on the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and open for that as well, and then back to where you started. Now, I'm one of these players, you know, boom chick player. Mississippi Fred McDowell was not. His rhythm was, it was still on the money in terms of beat, but he played the bottom end completely differently. But this is how I choose to play it, and you can decide for yourself which way you want to go. So the trick to playing or keeping this kind of rhythm going while you're playing with your top string is just practice. The way I ask people to do it is to just do this first and then introduce 1 finger. So your index finger first. After you got the hang of that, you can introduce a 2nd finger. Etc. But this is not a lesson on how to play fingerstyle guitar per se, but you do need to keep the bottom end going with your thumb. You can either use a thumb pick like I use, or to do it, as some people call it, riding bareback without a thumb pick at all. So the idea is to keep the G either an alternating bass, the G with the D, or you can strum across the strings like that, which I think is what Mississippi Fred McDowell actually does, or you can just stay on the G if that works for you. So I was staying on the G mostly. If you're doing an alternating style, it would sound more like this. Again, whatever suits your personal playing style, or however you manage to hit the notes. You can get too precious about technique. For most of us, we're never going to be Segovia or Steve Vai or some of those other really technically brilliant players. Most of us are just going to kind of play songs and get by, so I wouldn't get too hung up on trying to be technically perfect. So that's the first part of the tune. The second part of the tune, where the vocals actually occur, is it playing a C chord. Now, because you've got the B string and the G string and the D string all where they were in standard tuning, it means that a C chord is relatively easy to play. It's almost like the C chord that you were playing standard tuning, except you just leave off the third finger, because that is a note in the chord, the open G there. Lowered our A string to a G, and that G is part of the C chord. So you can play that chord. And if you want to get add a little bit of variety in there, you can put the third finger down. That will give you a B flat there, and that's actually a C seventh with the seventh note. That's the B flat, or flat and seventh, in the bass. And some people do that. It's not my preferred way of playing it, but it certainly is a legitimate way of doing it. And rhythmically it changes a bit from this bit to this. More of a cut time thing. When you get home, little baby, write me a few of your lines. And the way I'm doing that is by hitting the bass note first, and then that, and cutting it off, not letting it ring. Now, because you've got open strings in there, that's an open string, the D, and which you don't want, because that would interfere with the chord. You'd have a C plus ninth or something if you had that D in there. So you want to deaden that note, don't want to hit it. And you definitely don't want to hit the bottom D either, because that would sound horrible. So you've got to kind of be accurate with this. Now, I've heard this explained about how you deaden notes in chords that you don't want, that are a bit awkward, and the general consensus of opinion seems to be any way you can. What I'm doing is lifting off my fingers that are actually fretting the notes, so my index finger and my middle finger. I'm actually lifting them off, but I'm also leaning this finger off against the D string so that it doesn't sound as well. Now this sounds complicated, but you actually get a feel for it once you practice it a little bit. There's nothing very scientific about it, it's just any way you can. And when I'm lifting my the fretted notes off as well, I'm kind of leaning this finger a little bit, so I'm deadening the G string. And that's how I do it. So if we put the two bits together, we've got write me a few of your lines. When you get home, little baby, write me a few of your lines. Be a big consolation, honey, to my worried mind. Now, we've got that far. The next bit is really straightforward and really quite effective, and all that's happening here is that there's a walk up from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. Sorry, we start with the open. So how that's achieved is really what you're trying to do is accentuate the G strings, both of them, the 5th string and the 3rd string, and you start with that open. And then what happens is this G, that 5th note on the 5th fret here, on the open string, we hit that a few times to kind of finish off the phrase, if you like. So it's I'll play it really slowly so you can get the hang of it. Hard to play it that slow. And that's really the tune. Then it repeats those 3 things over again. So when you get home, little baby, write me a few of your lines. When you get home, little baby, write me a few of your lines. Be a big consolation, honey, to my worried mind. That's it for the verses. Now the instrumental section that I played earlier is also quite simple and straightforward, and again thanks Dom Turner for coming up with this. Dom Turner and the Backsliders, look them up on the web, great Australian blues band. Now what's happening here is that we've got, we're going to the 3rd fret again, and why that sounds so, I guess, bluesy is that the notes that are actually being played is a D note there, which is on the B string, 3rd fret, and an F note, which is on the top string, and the F note is the 7th note, or flattened 7th, sorry, of the chord. So it's a kind of G7th chord, if you like. So if you're instructing somebody to strum along with you on this section, you'd ask them to play a G7th chord. And so just noodling around on that G7th thing for a bit is that kind of thing. And then the next bit is go back up to the G again. G, F, I went backwards that time. and slide backwards. So you can introduce that G again, just a bit of relief. Give it a bit of vibrato, shake it around a bit. So, again, fairly straightforward. And just for a second bit in the instrumental, I don't think the backsliders did this bit. It's just sliding up to the B flat on the 3rd string, like that, and alternating that with sliding up to the B flat on the 5th string. Just like that, fairly simple and straightforward. That's it. Now you've got the whole tune, it's just a question of putting it all together. So I wish you luck, and you can find more of this stuff at my website, www.dockwhite.com.au. Should be a message on the screen about that, and about now. I have tablature of this, so if you want tablature, please email me through the website, and I will send it back to you in a PDF file, and you can open it up and have it at your leisure. But thanks for listening, see you next time.